I'm recording.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Gotta adjust my light. Hang on. Oh no, that's worse.
Hi, guys. Kathy.
Hi,
Trying
Kathy.
to. Oh, Chris, you don't sound great.
I'm Steve, and I don't sound great. Steve Mayo.
Ah. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Hi,
How are you, Joy?
I am fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. How are you enjoying your retirement?
I just arrived today. I'm sitting at a cottage right on Carolina Beach,
Oh,
and I'm going to be here for the whole month. So yeah, I'm
Good.
enjoying my
good
retirement.
for you.
Can I do a little test with you guys? If I type, is that really loud? Can you
No.
hear that?
Oh,
No? Okay, great.
don't
Thank
hear
you. Because I'm the one that does the minutes, and I didn't want it to be distracting.
Oh.
So I wanted to.
It's more distracting that you look like a green telephone, but okay.
It's my St. Patty's Day new hat. That's what that
Nice.
is.
Okay.
Oh, Joy, did you see the email from Liz Noble that she's not going to proceed with the September show that she was thinking about? Because the major person who was going to be helping her out has some medical issues.
Okay, no, I didn't actually read that, but
Okay.
but she could put it together and resubmit down the road.
Yes, and she's this is not discouraging her. It's just the timing isn't right for this particular situation, but she is committed to doing something at some point.
Good.
And I think Chris already has something for September or part of September anyway. So, but I just wanted to let you know that because I was going to bring it up even if we hadn't heard from her. Just and I had told Chris that was pending. So now we can withdraw it if it's on his radar.
Okay.
There's time I think we have in November. I think there's also January, February are looking open too. So there's definitely options.
Okay.
Okay, great. Hey, Chris. Yep. So the one I had mentioned that might be for September. I don't know if you heard the whole thing. She's not going to submit a formal proposal yet until she has better commitment from her group.
Okay. That makes sense. I'm talking to Doug. He should be here any second.
Yeah, for some reason, I'm not able to get the meeting on my phone with the visual, so I can't see who. So I know we've got Joy, Chris, Steve. So Chris, when people do pop in, would you let me know who else is on?
Sure.
So I can do the minutes.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We've got Mayreen just joined.
Okay.
Hey, Mayreen.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
We've got Tracy's light and just waiting for Doug. Let's see.
I do not know why it's showing my light. I'm looking at the camera. I know I'm a little odd. Wait, that's my hand. I mean, it's facing me.
It's a little symbol that it reverses.
Oh, really? I'm so stupid.
No, you're not.
Wait a minute. Where am I? I don't know. So
I don't know, but I'm blind.
Oh, wait, I'm upside down. So how do you do it? Joy, help me out here. Is it under settings?
Probably.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
Well, you don't really need to see me, but I'll
Yeah,
try.
but your light's bright. No.
I know. It's like the moon. Wait a minute. This is so silly. All right, whatever. Ignore me. I'm going to see if I can fix it.
How we doing, Doug? Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right, Anne Marie, how you doing? Oh, you just left.
Turn on my lights, it's all dark in here.
Okay. We got her coming back, and we'll get going in about 10 seconds. We got Joy. We see Tracy's light. All right. Okay, good. All right, is everybody ready to go?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to the March 1st Albion Cultural Exchange Committee meeting, 7:01 p.m. We're starting, and we have myself is here. We've got Joy Schilling here. We've got Tracy Bilicki, Tracy Shea here, Doug Henning, Anne Marie Gallivan. What do we call it? Kathy Frey, and also in the house tonight we have Town Councilwoman Maureen Butt, as well as Town Administrator Steve Mayo on the line with us tonight. So we're ready to get going. I think everybody's got a copy of the agenda, or you should have that via email, and also sent I think another document with that. Prior to that, we did our meeting minutes. I sent those out within a day or two of whenever our last meeting was, so everyone should have received copies of that. So I guess we'll just start off with item number 1, which is review and approval of our previous meeting minutes. And so I looked through them. They looked okay to me. Has everybody had an opportunity to take a look at those and be comfortable with them?
Yes.
Okay. So let's just all sort of raise our hands and vote and say, hey, we're going to approve our meeting minutes. All right. Looks like everybody approves, and we'll get through that one. Item number 2 is building maintenance and neighborhood operations is sort of the title on that. I met actually, I'll preface this, I met at 5 o'clock today with Marie Reg, who's the co-chair of the Commission on Disabilities Issues. And she had some questions and came down, and I sort of showed her some stuff and just kind of walked her around and answered some of her questions, which is relative to our first item here, which is the accessibility audit, which has been delivered to Town Council. It's also been delivered to Ed Dombrowski, the DPW liaison, Steve, Ann Waite, the whole Town Council. And at this point, I believe we've done all the work that we can on this, and have moved it forward. And the things that I think that we're hoping to look to see if we can do, I'd love to present this to the Town Council, given that we have Steve and Maureen here tonight. Hopefully we can gain some insight into when that might be possible. And also wanted to, through that review and through DPW looking at stuff, wanted to see what we could do to get to our next set of drawings, which has been spec'd out by KMA to move forward with accessibility. So with sort of that intro, I'll throw it to Maureen or Steve to ask, what can we do to move this along, present it to Town Council, that sort of stuff.
Do you want to start, Maureen, and then I'll jump in?
Sure. So I think that's a pretty good segue. And I guess we should have premised first. So I just want to say hello to everyone that I don't know. I don't know some of your faces. I know other people. Hello. Steve and I asked to be here because we wanted to thank you for all the work that you all do. The programming that you put on is amazing. It's been great since the committee was formed in 2015. I can't tell you how many people told me about this past showing and how great it was. And I think we mentioned it on Monday's Town Council meeting that it's been extended. And so people were really excited. So I do want to thank each and every one of you for volunteering your time. That being said, I know Steve had a conversation with I think Tracy and Chris a couple of weeks ago, just to talk about the building and kind of aligning it with some of the other municipal owned buildings that we have in town. And so we just wanted to have a conversation with the entire committee about that conversation and kind of walk through some stuff that we've been thinking as we think about townwide and all the municipal owned buildings that we have, and also just creating a space so that all of you can focus on the programming and the things that you do really well. So Steve, do you want to talk a little bit about what you talked about, Chris?
Let me jump in and pardon my voice, but I think I'm on the mend. So it may crack in and out here. But I do think that when I think of where this building was not too many years ago, and for a municipal building to come this far with no tax levy expenditures really to think of is really fantastic. So you should all be proud of this. And I feel that this building is in the same place where the Civic Center was a few years ago, where it was a great group of volunteers kind of working on the Civic Center and not only doing programming, but handling the renting and the rental and the maintenance and what have you. And as all our townhome buildings, we need people that work for the town and handle all the things with the buildings, from setting up a process of renting and making sure that we have people's insurances. And I say renting because eventually this building should be rented. It should become some sort of a revenue, and to making sure that we have the proper support staff there to handle it. So what my conversation was with Tracy and Chris was to really talk about the fact that we need to transition the Albion Culture Exchange from how we've been doing it to more like the Civic Center, and have Dan McGrath as a town employee kind of help with the reins on that. And with that comes custodial service. There's no reason why you have to have that you guys handling any of the custodial stuff. And I know you do that when you run programs, because I've seen you do that. Cleaning, we have DPW guys, or we have contracts for cleaning, and those contracts have to be through the town. They cannot be ad hoc for a lot of reasons, insurance and liability being part of it, but also the possibility of grievances. We have a system setting up people to rent that want to rent and are used that want to use it. And the Civic Center is used all the time. And I will tell you that has turned into a real big, a really good money maker, and really runs a lot of the recreational programs we run without the tax levy, which is great, and even spills into some of the repairs we've done over there. The other thing that I wanted to touch over is that we have a great opportunity right now with this old Santander Bank, our neighbor behind us, being redeveloped. Now is the time we're going to get our best bang for the buck, from drainage to rear access to what have you. So those discussions will be ongoing, particularly with our DPW town engineer, Bill Renault, who will also be reviewing the accessibility plan, as he is our town ADA officer. So what I'd love to see, and what frankly what my 7 bosses want to see, is that the programming and the wonderful shows and what have you we continue to be worked through Dan McGrath. However, supplemented and getting the people that are doing the shows and what have you, and coming up with those programs through the ACE Exchange Committee, and our handling all the other stuff. And with that will actually come stupid stuff like paper towels and toilet paper and Windex and things like that. So I have to regather my voice. I know I babbled on a lot and it's not good, but that's where we are with that today. I don't know, Maureen, did I miss anything? I don't have enough to.
Doug, do you have any comments on this?
Yeah, so in terms of the rentals, it's my understanding that cultural centers in towns are not really geared as money makers, but they're really for towns to have cultural events and not necessarily have to pay for them. So my concern about turning this into a rental center and a money-making opportunity kind of strays from what our vision is for arts and culture in the community.
Right. And when I say rentals, they're very minor rentals. I mean, it's like $100. You know, you may
Well,
want.
$100 is a lot for a
Well,
private person who
does-
wants to have a show in there.
It does, and we will get to rentals. Maybe there's a phase-in approach, but that's something we will have to look at. And it could be a baby shower that wants to come in, or a book club that wants to pay $50 to be there. I have people.
know-
I have people that use the Civic Center for pickleball, and they pay $5 each. It just helps with the maintenance of the building, helps pay for some of the events, and gives people a stake in the game. So I'm not talking about thousands and thousands of dollars, but they do add up.
True, but it just goes against the cultural nature of an open community center. But
I
that's
guess
not for me.
I
to
guess I
decide, but
disagree. I guess I disagree.
Yeah, that's fine.
I also, can I just add on that, you know, as you all know, there is a space shortage in town. And so as we go back into having meetings in person, we don't have enough rooms. And so our hope, a lot of the town councils, we use some of our ARPA funding to create hybrid capability. So that would be a meeting space too. So I don't think it would always be rentals. I think it would be another meeting space for groups to actually meet, town committees. It's a town-owned building to have meeting space there.
I understand that, but the thing is, it's a cultural center. So if we're doing an art show and then you want to have a meeting in there, it's not really, I mean, that's not the intended purpose for that.
What I wanted to jump in and say is that you could have a rental in there, but that doesn't mean there's any art on the walls. And there probably won't be art on the walls because
can't
people
be.
won't feel comfortable with having a rental group come in when
Mhm.
there's an exhibit. So that would have the planning,
Right.
because I mean, let's face it, I'm in this for art exhibits. I don't care about anything else. I'm not interested in a baby shower. I'm not interested in, we've been actually working towards it being art related. So maybe if it's going to switch over, it won't switch over the same way that you can have basketball at the Civic Center every Thursday night. Maybe it's switched over so there's slots for exhibits,
Yeah.
not.
It definitely needs to be.
Am I missing the point?
No,
or
I
am
think it definitely.
hopefully adding or honing the point.
No, I
Can
think
What's the point?
I understand what you're saying. It needs to be well coordinated.
Yes.
Yeah.
So to say it's like the Civic Center is
Oh.
only in a very, I think, like up here level,
Yes,
not in the way that it would run.
exactly,
I'm
exactly.
hoping.
Yeah. Although when
So-
you do have
We have a
offices,
show.
when you do
Yeah,
have
we have a
offices
show for this
upstairs.
month, and if you had other people coming in and doing events during a show that we have for this month, meetings and whatnot, I mean, it's not, you know, what about all the artwork and things that are set up in there for the show for the entire
Well, I'm
month?
saying that it wouldn't happen, that it couldn't happen.
No, it can't. So let
Why
me add
not?
though,
Are you saying
That's what I mean, we're having a discussion here.
right?
No,
And what
He's
I'm
agreeing
saying
with
is
you.
that if I'm running a show like the show that's coming up in June, May,
Mhm.
I wouldn't be comfortable if it was there for a month. If you told me that there was going to be a baby shower there, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that because I'm in charge of everything that's on the walls and I don't want to go to a baby shower.
Joy,
So,
those are actually absolutely things we need to consider.
okay.
I
Cause
was
that's,
talking
could
from
I,
a global sense, I guess.
all right, so my
Tracy?
thing is, are we just,
Oh.
are we trying to get away from being an art gallery for, I mean,
No,
No, I'm not asking you.
Brilliant.
I'm
You
asking
may-
like,
You
I'm
may have-
asking Steve and Maureen. I mean, I just don't, I understand about, and I think that would be great, like as far as if someone in like the town council, you need a meeting space, because I know we've had state reps use our space. If someone, I think that is a much different thing than saying we're gonna, and I know we're using baby shower, but even to have a retirement thing where I just don't see how it would work if we're going to continue to be an art gallery, which I think the town as a whole is really into. I mean, we've had such great feedback. I mean, because we do get better each time because more things have been done. I don't know. I think everybody's jumping to, like, we went right away to say we're going to hand this to Dan, and now it's going to be this. But I think there's a lot, and we have to decide: are we not going to be an art gallery anymore? And I don't think that's where anybody really wants it to go. But all these other things are going to pull away and not allow it to be like Joy and Doug. There's no way, like right now, the stuff we have in there is so unbelievable and it's so expensive. We didn't even want to, I personally didn't want to even take it down. So one of the artists isn't going to be here because it's expensive stuff. So it's just,
But
that's a big thing.
Isn't the scope of the ACE building actually broader than just an art gallery? It's a Albion cultural exchange
No,
meant to be a
sure.
forum for arts, and we've had independent films, and we've had classes, and we've
Right,
had a
but it had
variety
to
of
do
different
with-
things there.
But Kathy, you're right, but it had to do with art, and I shouldn't have said
You-
art gallery. I meant,
might- Yeah,
art
no, I don't-
cultural
but
related.
It's not always been about art. I mean, it's been, there's
No,
been
right.
films, there's been other things. So I wonder if we're getting ourselves down a rabbit hole on this.
But I feel like those
So-
are all art geared.
I-
Those are all
yeah.
geared towards
I
art.
probably
film.
using, I can see doing baby showers rarely like they do at the Civic Center if there's nothing open, like they do at the Hartshorn House.
No, they'll go to the Hartshorn House and that's where they can have their.
That's
booth
But
because
on.
who
you
will
live
staff-
there. But
I'm
if you have
telling you
nothing,
that right
if you
now.
have, let me finish. If you have nothing going for a few weeks, why not have something? There's nothing there.
So
Why not?
who
have a
would
poet-
staff these, who would
Well,
staff these
that's
events?
why you would have you have custodians. We have town people letting them in.
I'm
no.
sorry, I'm upside down. I
No,
feel
it's
very
okay.
odd.
I'm just not looking. It's like the
All right,
voice-
good. It's weird, I know, and I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to understand. I feel like we really have come to a point where, wow, we really know what we're becoming, and people are really receptive and know that we're fine, like, oh,
Right.
we're there. They know we're there now.
And I think
Just
by
for the
having,
sake of argument, Steve,
yes,
can you take the word baby shower off the
yes, I'll
table?
take the
Yeah.
baby
Okay.
shower
We'll
out
say
of my mouth.
retirement party,
Change.
retirement party.
You like
No,
retirement
no,
party?
no, no, no,
All right,
no.
what do you want to
If-
use, Joy?
If you changed
How about book club?
office out, wait, no. If you
no.
changed like office hours, like we had the Kate Whitaker, whatever, sorry. Office hours, meeting space, a meeting. Like, I'm thinking not like a retirement party or a baby shower. Could you just take those two words off the table for now?
I think we can. If that makes you feel better, Joy.
It would make me feel a lot better.
Joy used to talk me out of things in the class of 1982, so.
So you have some experience.
Do you have an outline?
No, we're starting the conversation with you today.
Okay.
Can we go back to the programming and how I was a little confused, Steve, around the part where, and maybe your voice was petering out a wee bit, but you were talking about, so the facilities in the building would, be overseen by the town and by Dan McGrath and the DPW, and then the ACE team would or the committee would still coordinate events, and then but the programming the scheduling of those
So-
and this is the part where I got confused, because I think I wrote down programming will work through Dan McGrath with the ACE committee coordinating the actual event. So I was a little
Well, I
unclear
think
on.
there's, you may coordinate some events, you may not. You may have a group that comes in and that wants to show their art or their film or their,
Oh, so we're
poetry reading.
possessive though.
what?
We're possessive.
But
You're
it's
gonna
not
just,
your building, Joy, it's the town's.
no, I
Yeah.
never said that. I never said that. I've learned that over the years. But we are possessive of
I
the
get it.
space,
I get
and
it.
it would need, you just can't go in there cold and set it. Now, maybe I'm getting into the finer details of
I think
things.
you are. So
Okay.
we might use the Heritage Room for something, right? At the beautiful room at the Civic Center.
Yeah, but you're not hanging art there.
Well, no, but they
You
might
just
do,
walk in.
they might do a poetry reading there. They might do a craft class. How about a wreath making class they want to do?
No,
No, that has to go on
not
in the
anymore.
basement. Nope,
Why?
no.
Why is that a no?
anyhow, can I get a chance to say something? I just let everybody else speak for a while, but I do have some thoughts on this.
Why is that? Okay.
So, I look at this and I don't think this is like the Civic Center at all. I think it's like really not even close to a comparison. The way that we've talked about historically measuring economic impact on this building has never been through rental income. Through conversations with our state reps, state delegation, the Mass Cultural Council, over and over again, economic impact is measured by, the facility usage, which we're starting to creep up. We started at like 1 day a month, and now we're getting up to, 10, 15 days a month of facility usage. And think tanks like American for the Arts and stuff like that put a number somewhere between $40 and $150, depending on the event, as to the economic impact. So with the thousands of people that we've had come through the building, we've provided probably at least hundreds of thousands of dollars of economic impact that can be measured in various scales. That being said, that rental income has never been considered a trigger for economic impact. As we were doing this, we see the big picture in a different way. We built a master plan with the Massachusetts Area Planning Council, and much of that has stayed together. Some of it has kind of gone by the wayside, but the master plan for this building is to have artist innovation spaces in the third floor, which is like 6 to 8 spaces, classroom spaces downstairs, and to manage all that. The understanding with the state delegation for the last, since we've been doing this, to get money was that we were eventually going to transition to a nonprofit. And the idea,
I disagree with that.
Hold on. You can
Okay.
disagree, but all the state folks that I've been talking to and the plan that most of us have been talking about involves that. And the reason why is because of funding. So when we're talking about economic impact, the amount of funding that opens up to us is amazing under this model. So in working with the state over the last several months, starting in September, October, several meetings, Tracy and I went to Creative Haverhill. They advised us on how to sort of get things together so that we can qualify by statute. So just in general, the idea that like you'd take over managing the building and we'd have nothing to do with infrastructure, that's a significant change in the way that we've operated for 8 years, like a very significant change. So it's not something that I think you come in and be like, hey, we're just doing this now. I was disappointed when we did meet. I didn't feel as if we got to actually really speak much. But Ann Waite was there, and you talk about Dan McGrath and stuff. Ann Waite's never been in the building. Dan McGrath's never been in the building. You've been in the building a couple times recently. So it was just really jarring to hear, hey, you did all this stuff, but we're going to have all these people who've never been involved kind of come in. But more importantly, it doesn't follow the model that we've been consistently reporting on and talking about month to month to month to month to month. And it really, even if we were to do this, we need to handle some infrastructure issues, which, at this point, I can tell you the in and outs of this building very well. We've had engineers coming in and out of here. I doubt there's anybody really that exists that knows more about the various things and how they come together and what we're doing. So we're at a critical point now. I did speak up at the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting because we have drainage stuff going on in the back. And it's been very challenging to get information from the Department of Public Works regarding that, and regarding lots of stuff. And we've learned to work together as best that we can. I did submit a proposal, separate from this committee, which I want to be heard to get to that nonprofit area where we can be getting hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue. As we look at this building, we looked at needing like $1.5 million to get it going. We looked at financial models, which involve the artist space upstairs. And we looked at financial models that, quite frankly, really don't put a ton of importance on baby showers or rentals. Now, beyond that, our building is booked. I'd say we're pretty solid 8 to 10 months a year. We have programming in the summer, not so much. But when we have programming and we have month-long shows, which is where we've evolved to, at that point, there's a big security concern. So this isn't a place where you can have a janitor. A janitor can't just walk in there. We have customized equipment. This isn't a $20, $30, $40, $50 an hour rental. This is a highly sought after place. I have people from Rockport, Cape Ann. I mean, we're getting so many inquiries that really the challenge at this point is to sort through them at a much higher level and a high level of purpose. I spoke with a former town councilwoman and a few other people, and we talked about this. And I said something like, "Hey, it's not a rental. Meeting space, really? No, that's not what this building does. There's plenty of other spaces for that." And I was questioned and said, why not? And it's not that it's physically impossible, but the point of our mission and really where we're going with this is at a much higher level than, hey, let's have the rec department run it and rent out rooms. I mean, that's a nickels and dimes kind of approach to something where we're dealing in, hundreds and thousands of dollars. I mean, it's just from hearing it and various versions of it, it just doesn't seem to make sense really at all. From the financial models, from the story that we've been telling. I mean, it's such a drastic change. And I'd say way too drastic. If you really wanted to focus in on it, and for some reason there was some mad desire to get some sort of rental income, we could probably figure out some stuff in the summer. But we got our air conditioning fixed. So as we start to evolve and do these things, we're going to be doing more stuff. And as far as staffing goes, I really wouldn't. When Dan got hired, I trained him. And we talked about all the things that were going. He's a super busy guy. He's done a great job down at the Civic Center. But I'd say the idea that you compare the Civic Center to our building, which is loved and hugged and is a specialized facility that's had a committee that's been working on infrastructure and programming, and we are so ridiculously successful and high profile right now, I'd say it's just way out of, just not even on the same planet as far as where we're at now. Do some notifications need to happen? Probably. There's definitely some points of understanding of things. We've aggressively had to do things to get to where we're at, but we are at a pretty impressive point. And so, for instance, we have a show this next month coming up called Open Gallery. And the specific reason that we have that show and brought it in, I got Tracy to help me, Doug to help me, we got some stuff out there, is because we're looking at equity and inclusion, okay? Not rental income. Okay, because that's just such a small potatoes, pennies kind of thing. We want people to be able to use the space, and I've identified and I've talked to the team here about the fact that some people think that they can't really get involved, or you have to be in the arts collaborative, or you have to be on this, or you have to be on that. And I recognize that has been a perception. Whether it's a problem, maybe not so much. But we created this open gallery show, and the line behind it is really that anybody can be in, up to 3 pieces as long as it's family friendly. And there's really no theme. It's March. There can be something in there. And that was really to level the playing field, to get the community and to get those equity things and get those inclusion type stuff in there. And then speaking of equity and inclusion, we started this conversation off talking about our accessibility and the fact that, we've basically supplied a plan that I probably have 200 to 300 hours in. We have one of the top architecture firms for accessibility in the state that wrote the plan and made a recommendation. We have the Commission for Disabilities Issues, who's also on board with the plan. We've got a lot of people that want to give us money. We've got a lot of people at the state that are talking about, hey, if we can make some adjustments and keep the programming going, we can start funneling, say tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars to do stuff. But right now, we started this conversation with our accessibility. And really what I'd like to, sort of keep going with and not get sidetracked on the idea that somebody might rent it for a baby shower, maybe in August, because that's probably the soonest we have availability, and talk about what are we going to do to move this accessibility project forward?
The accessibility plan is with our accessibility officer. And
Okay.
as I told you 2 weeks ago, he will look at it. I'll tell you, he speaks with Marie Ray all the time.
Okay.
So, and we need to dovetail that with what's going on behind us, with the Santander building, and that's going to affect drainage and accessibility, perhaps in the rear as well. So there's a lot of moving parts there.
So can I just respond to everything that was just said?
Sure.
I think we just need to take a little back up a little bit, right? So your committee is appointed from the town council. You have done an amazing job. Nobody is questioning that at all. Again, the programming you do is great. Looking at it from a town councilor position and looking at it from Steve's position as the town administrator who looks over all of our public municipality buildings in our town, things that have been happening at the ACE building are not aligned with what happens in other buildings. I completely agree that things need to be different and thought of as different, right? We have a 100-year-old library that is part of our function in our town also. We have the Civic Center. There has been things going on that has been going on that do not align with how other committees and other buildings align with. And looking at your agenda today, like all of this stuff is engineering stuff. It's Steve's department. It's DPW. It's Steve's department. The stuff that you guys are amazing at, that I want you to do, that everyone in the town wants you to do, we don't get to the second page. Like we want to make an environment that the programming that you guys are really good at, you get to do that. And the building maintenance, which is part of Steve's job as the town administrator and his team, that they can focus on that. And that's the shift that we're asking for. The rental stuff, we'll talk to you about that. You guys will get priority, all your programming, because we want you to continue doing the programming. But the doing DPW's job, having cleaners come into the building, going to ZBA hearings and talking about, acting as an abutter. The abutter is Steve. Steve's the town administrator who runs the municipal buildings. So I think that's really what we want to take off that stuff and give it to the rightful owner that is DPW and Steve to do the infrastructure of the building, and let you all do the programming. And we've heard about the 501c3. If anyone wants to create a 501c3, go for it. That is not a government entity. By definition, it's a nonprofit. Go create a nonprofit. But this committee cannot turn into a 501c3. This is a town council appointed committee. And you are all appointed volunteers on this committee, and you're volunteered for the programming. That's why we pick you. Not to, talk about window cleaning maintenance. That's just not what I want you all spending your time on.
You know what caught my eye while you're talking about the agenda is the rooftop patio. I mean, I think it's a wonderful thing, but I don't see that happening in any of my buildings in the near future, if ever. Thought it was an interesting thing on there. And that's what we're saying. The building is the Joe Conways and the Ann Waite, who has been in the building. I've been in the building quite a few times over the years, as has everybody here. And when I say, people doing, outside groups being window cleaning, we could have, I could have grievances. Someone could get hurt, and that's if they're paid or not. People get hurt. Are they bonded? Are they insured? Those are the things that I need to worry about. As far as the art shows and what have you, I get it. That art is very delicate, and I get that. In fact, I have a piece of art in my office that I think I bought from Anne Marie, or one of Anne Marie's clients, at a show because it got damaged when it was moved by people in the A staff, I guess, and to keep the piece. I think I bought it for a few $100. I can't see the damage on it. It's in my office, so I kind of like it next to one of the ceramic items I bought from one of Joy's kids there. So yeah, I think that's what we want to do. We want to free you guys up much better than I said it, Maureen. But we want you to give us the ideas on the building and on what your feelings are, particularly on the exterior and the drainage, because you may have seen that more than we. And we have a great opportunity with the Santander people behind that. But that's got to go through the DPW and the town engineer and things like that. It just can't be all done on the outside. That's the major point.
Yeah. So while I hear what you're saying, I completely disagree with it. I believe that we are good at doing the building and getting it into the state that it is. In fact, when we worked with DPW initially to do our renovations for the floors and everything else, I believe one of the people on DPW actually said, who's going to project manage this, which I believe it was their job. And I sort of let some silence go and I said, I would say that this team is actually really good at the infrastructure stuff. We figured out through everybody on here how to get the hanging systems. What do the hanging systems look like? We did all the architecture meetings for the last 8 years. So to say that we're not good at it really is inaccurate. We're really good at it. That's why everybody wants in this building right now.
I think anybody said.
And so, so we've got that. As far as the rightful owner, I mean, I don't say that the DPW is the rightful owner. We can all agree. At least we would hope that we could agree that this is a collaborative thing and that we want everybody to have a participation in there. And I'd say that, things that probably could be improved that would go down in the direction that you're talking about, well, I'm way not in agreement, would be more things like, can we get consistent communication, with the DPW? Because things that have happened along the way, specifically Joy might be able to even talk about this with like the alarm system, is just the communication just is terrible. We're not getting the information that we need, and we are good at infrastructure and managing and getting stuff together. So I have to say that straight out. I mean, this team is the one that picked the color schemes, the floors, got everything together, got that together and was on site. So we are good at that, and we are good at programming. The DPW and the rec department, I don't think that the term rightful owners there. I'd say that we beat 4 out of 5 dentists, 99 out of 100 people love what we're doing, and we've got programming for 9 or 10 months. So if we want to talk about something that's, rental, it's just, I can't even stomach hearing that, because it's just so outside of how we actually measure success with this building and how we've measured success in the past. So, I appreciate hearing all of it, but I think that there's, a lot more discussion, none of which is going to be solved tonight. I think, what's apparent is that most of the people on our team disagree at some level. And so there's work to be done, but in the short term, I'd say up until July, and then really, like July and August, there's a little bit of time, but we have a lot of programming point where, there wouldn't really be a possibility of, per se a rental, because we'd have $10,000 worth of art in there. And when you have $10,000 worth of art in there, you can't have the Cub Scouts in unless it's like a tour.
I think that's
that
great.
sort of stuff.
I think that's great. And that would be scheduled for them. I agree with you on that. Absolutely.
So I would think that let's figure out a way to have, some, really good discourse in a way that we could regularly communicate with DPW. DPW is the maintenance organization of town. We get that. They're a big part of what goes on. But what we also have experienced is that, there's a lot of breakdown there. We had alarms going off. The Arts Collaborative couldn't have a show, and it got really, really, tense.
I think going through like the past is not helpful. I think what Steve and I are here to say is that at the end of the day, Steve as town administrator, the buck stops with him. And so It doesn't matter who it is at DPW. It doesn't matter if it's Dan. We are saying that the infrastructure and the maintenance of the building is coming back to the town. And we are so appreciative of all that the committee has done, but we want the committee to focus on programming and not on the maintenance of the building. That is Steve's That is what Steve, it is literally part of his contract of municipal owned buildings to keep up their maintenance of our facilities. And that it's Steve. So you can put in anyone's name. At the end of the day, if you have problems going forward with stuff, it's Steve. You call Steve. He is the.
And it's a charter issue, really. It's a town charter.
It's a municipal building. Steve, as the town administrator, is the day-to-day operationals of that building. And so at the end of the day, we are, it's going back to Steve. We want to be collaborative, like he said. We want to talk to you guys. We want your input, but you can't be spending all your meetings about operational. That's just not what it should be going forward. We want you to focus on the programming.
Well, without the operational, we wouldn't have the floors that we have now, the lighting systems that we have now. I don't think the DPW was going to put that stuff in. We've also raised hundreds of thousands of dollars through grant money, specifically for an arts center, cultural center, and to then use that money to create, to have it be a general facility is kind of, it is contradictory.
Yeah,
So
we have
my question would be going
town
forward.
have raised that money.
What's that?
I don't
We-
think the
yeah.
issue is really, I think the issue is the infrastructure. I don't think that they really want to turn it into a rental facility. I think it has more to do with what we were just speaking about.
No,
I think
understand.
Anne Marie, that's or Tracy, whoever spoke.
Yeah.
We can talk about that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
so the
I don't know
message-
that we're
the
gonna get much
message
more
is
value
clear.
by, going back and forth with everybody. What I will say is that I still disagree that that would be a major change to the appointment, level of the committee. Maureen, I do hear what you're saying, and I appreciate it. So I don't want to go back and forth. I say it louder, you say it louder, that kind of thing. I disagree. I fundamentally disagree that we've always been involved in infrastructure since the beginning, and I think Doug just made the point that the fact that we are involved in infrastructure is why we have an awesome building that everybody wants to. What I would offer is to say that it would be great to come up with some sort of, way to establish middle grounds, because I think we're really far apart right now in what we think, and strong arming either way. Us saying no, or you saying yes. That's just really not productive. I think everybody on this team, feels a little bit of ownership in the building, but it's also not rightfully owned by the DPW and all this stuff. It's collaboratively owned by all of us. And I just want to get back to, all right, we're moving forward with, we did all the planning on the accessibility.
Owned by the town. It is owned by the town.
We did all the planning on the accessibility. And so we have been involved in that. And so keeping going, like the idea that we just stop talking about all this stuff that we've been very involved in doesn't seem to make sense. However, I think we can all appreciate that we've all had a conversation tonight, and that gives us stuff to reflect on. And specifically, we have a ton of programming between now and June. So we have a lot of time for conversations, that have, essentially, in all reality, just begun tonight. Because this is such a drastic change that, I have talked to folks on the town council, and I don't think that they're all in unison on this. I was talking to people on Sunday, and I'd say that they're not, balanced with what's going on here. So, but I think everybody's had their opportunity to talk tonight. So no one's gonna win the conversation. It's just a bunch of conversation, which we should, push forward to a future date to figure out, hey, what are we going to do? We've got programming for the next couple months, and that's a lot of work for us. And we're going to continue doing that. And yeah, if the accessibility stuff's moving forward and we're hearing from Bill and we're moving that forward, that's fantastic, because that's all paid for. And I'm hearing from disabilities that they want to do that. And we really want that first floor to be activated in an appropriate way. But to say that we're going to avoid infrastructure when we need an elevator and we have a master plan and we've done all this other stuff doesn't make sense to me. So I think that, we need to have future conversations, and neither side of this conversation tonight should try to strong arm the other one. I think we should agree to have future conversations.
Kathy, did you have something to add?
I was just going to say that it seems to me that the message is loud and clear. This is a town-owned building. This is with the town administrator and some of the town council, if not all the town council, want us to head. So So I don't know that we beat this thing up pretty well tonight. I'm not sure how to get us to move forward. Clearly we have some strong disagreement with, several members. I'm more interested in the mechanics of how things are going to go, work going forward, and how do we focus on these things effectively, the events, and assuming this does move over to the direction that Steve is suggesting that it should, how do we work with the new structure? That's really more about where I'm going to be headed. And we are all volunteers on a town appointed committee, and this is a town owned building. So, that's very real. I guess that's my thought.
All right. I don't know that there's, what?
If I could just add in,
Yeah.
moving forward, I think it would be nice as a point of reference if one of the two of you could put together an outline of what you think our responsibilities would be. And that could be a place where we could start a conversation where we might say, okay, let's change, we can negotiate how it would move forward. I'm not talking about the facilities. I'm just talking about the programming. Like, what do you guys think we should do? What's your idea? I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you, but
We love
it's
your
easy to
programming.
spin out.
Joy, we love your programming. We want you to continue to do the programming. We love it.
But that needs to be a little bit more specific. So like, what does that mean?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I mean, you have
That's
your
what I
agenda.
think moving forward.
Yeah, we love the programming. I think that's what we want to free up your time to do and not talk about cleaning the windows. That is not what I want you spending your time on. I want you to
But we don't really speak about that. I mean, it's a quick 2-minute, like we're not having our meetings over the windows.
Right, but it's Steve's problem. That
So
should be
why
Steve's
hasn't
problem.
someone cleaned the window? I'm not being but like, why hasn't someone come to clean the windows in all these years? I'm trying to figure out how this works. Like, no one's asked.
No one's asked me.
So, like,
I guess.
Is that what
Tracy-
we're supposed? No, and I'm not being fresh. So we're supposed to
Oh.
just like ask, like, hey, we need this cleaned or this cleaned, and someone's gonna like you make arrangements with somebody. Like,
Let me put it this way, Tracy. I can't read on Facebook that an outside group that is not contracted with the town clean the windows.
oh right, no, that's understood and
Right.
like done. I understand that. I'm just like moving forward. I'm just asking, like, would be what we do though. We would ask, hey, can we
And-
get someone to clean the bathroom? Or can we get someone to clean the
And
window?
by getting the building on a schedule with DPW, then those things happen. You know what I
So
mean?
that's what I'm asking. Like, how would we do that? Right.
We get on a schedule.
And I'm not being.
Oh, no, you're right.
Right.
They should be.
Okay. Sure.
But you know what, Steve, let me ask you a question. So is that something we should be initiating, or is it more like you and the DPW say, this is what they're going to be doing going forward or something? I mean, I think that goes back to Tracy's question.
Right.
Yeah, we would have to pull that together for you, I think, at this point, and tell you that.
Okay. Okay.
I agree. And that's part of having a town employee manage it, who puts it on the schedule and everything else. We have a building manager and we have other managers. So that's part of running those parts of the business. And sometimes
And Joy, to go back to
I gotta tell them back in my office too sometimes.
yeah, and Joy, going back to, so you're
Joy,
looking for
I get what you
information.
want. Joy. I understand what you
You
want. Joy.
get what Joy wants?
I want
Okay.
a lesson plan.
Yeah.
I want to know what your ideas are, and then we can talk about them. Not that we'll change your mind or anything, but you might leave some stuff out.
No, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Joy.
Okay.
All right.
Do we have a
I'm saying
date on
nothing
that?
else.
Do you have a date? Can we have a date?
Yeah, like
Sometime during March? How does that sound?
not, well,
No, you're gonna be away.
I am away. I am away. We can do this again. I don't know what you guys throw it out. We meet the first Wednesday of the month.
Well, why don't you put us on that agenda And then we can have an update. How does that sound with some of this? Does that sound all right with you, Maureen, or not?
Sounds good.
Does anybody who hasn't had an opportunity to speak want the floor?
Not right now, thank you.
Okay. So it sounds as if everybody who wanted to speak had the floor. It sounds like conversations have begun, but I don't think anything's really been agreed upon. Other than that, we're going to keep talking.
So Chris, I just want to be clear. We are coming back to your next meeting with a plan that is actually agreed upon. So Steve is going to put together a
Well,
deep
yeah, but it's going to be a plan that we're going to use as a point of conversation.
conversation, right?
It's not going to be something we're going to say,
It's
good
a rough
job.
outline,
We get a red pen.
rough
It'll-
outline.
Yes.
You know, and how do we deal with infrastructure issues, which are like live right now, like the stuff behind us? You know, we have water issues that are, what do you call it? You know, for future fire suppression that are, you know, important to be talked about right now, and really can't be, you know, waited on with that hearing actively going, as well as drainage off the back. And you know, we did discuss in that Bill Renault sounds like he's looking over the accessibility plan, and hopefully by next month we'll know. Our big goal there on that. You know, we have been involved in that, so I'm going to say that we're still owning that. Is to you know, there's another set of drawings to get out to get that thing to bid, which despite the fact that, you know, people don't think we know how to do infrastructure, this is the way that we've done it the last few times. So we'd like to see that through so that the
We're going to
first
hold
floor
off.
is fully activated.
The ACE committee will not go to bid with that without the town. I'm telling
Oh,
you.
right. Oh, of course. But what I'm saying is like the last 3 times that or 2 or 3 times that we've gone out to bid, we've done it the same exact way. In fact, when I presented to the town council last time, it was Julie Galvin and Ed Dombrowski who asked me to pair up with the Commission on Disabilities Issues.
Right.
And I now have, you know, tens, if not hundreds of hours doing what was requested by the town council under our, you know, initial designation, you know, to do that. So getting that done, I think it's not like we just abandoned ship, like, hey, we got it this far and now we need to go away. That doesn't seem like it would work for everybody.
Just wanted it clear that the town is the bidder.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's obvious. I think a lot of times people spend too much time trying to
I want to make sure it's
point that out.
The other thing, when you're talking about fire suppression, you're talking about water pressure coming to the property.
Right.
Or- Okay.
And then the big thing in conversations with our pals next door, because I deal with Ralph at 1315, is that where that water was going to come in was on Albion Street. And Albion Street's been paved, so it's got a 5-year moratorium. So while we have building going on in the back, it is important and it is rightful of you know, my capabilities to speak to them and say, hey,
No,
you know, we don't want to dig
I-
up the street. You know what I mean? These are, and this is a common, you know, need for him. He calls me all the time. And I don't think I have to tell him to stop calling me like, hey, we're not allowed to talk about anything. That seems silly. But these are, you know, concerns there. And he's done a ton of work to help us with plans and stuff on infrastructure. So, you know, I think he's a valuable asset in downtown.
Yeah, we're meeting with the developer behind, as I said.
So do we want to move on to events? Are we good with this? Do you guys want to move on?
Yeah, let's move on. Yeah, let's move on to events, please.
Okay. Events, we're starting off here. We've got the Kerry Mack, Joyce, Lenny Malvone
Thank
show.
you. I'm gonna leave because I can't talk anyway.
You have homework to do.
I'm gonna start.
Go do
I need to Write my.
Yeah. I'm leaving as well. I'm gonna head back to Wakefield. Have a good night, you all.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, so Friends of Albion Culture Exchange, the Kerry Mack, Joyce Wood, Lenny Malvone show. My opinion of it is outstanding. Everybody loves it. It's we're doing an encore. We were frozen cold the first night, and still it was packed. It's been packed ever since. Lots of positive feedback. Doug, Tracy, Kathy, people that have been there, feel free to talk about it. Anything you want to say?
Well
Awesome.
received. Great job.
Beautiful.
So I think they're doing good. I don't know if you saw that, you know, there's a lot of eagles that are in both Kerry and Joyce's stuff. And I guess sadly, their prize eagle, the big photo of the eagle, I guess that bird died last night.
Oh,
And,
no.
No.
like pest
Rat
repellent
poison.
in the prey
Oh,
or something.
really?
That's the one in
Yep.
Arlington that was poisoned from rat poison?
I don't know
Yeah.
where it is. In fact, they talk about the fact that they don't identify the location to protect the animals.
Right.
They said in Arlington, it was in the news about
Okay.
Arlington was where they
Wow.
rescued that eagle.
Uh,
That's sad.
yeah, so that's weird, but the show's a roaring success. Everybody seems to be happy with that. The big prints are there, and I think that the big prints probably inspired the other group that wants to do big prints, and I think that's great. You know, when we have stuff that's up there and we get high profile, that just gets, you know, a lot of energy on people that want to, you know, kind of mimic it and do it on their own. So that was the February one. We'll move on from that. Food-based show, we skipped that. We've got this open gallery show, which created sort of on the fly to make it so that, as I was talking about, you know, equity, inclusivity, and making it so that everybody can play. I do recognize that there are people that think that they can't get into the gallery to do something because we've been figuring out how to schedule and how to do stuff and had various levels of success at that point, you know, doing that kind of thing. So the real point behind that show was to open it up for everybody so that there can't be people out there, or there shouldn't be people out there that say that they're excluded or that they can't get in there. And I've seen a lot of eyes just, you know, open wide that, you know, hey, you know, I can get in there and we can do that. So we've got, I think, 20 something people signed up right now, and a few other people. So I think it'll be a good show. Other things that are happening there, we've got Donald Wong signed up to do his Q Gong thing. So the show is going to be opens on St. Patrick's Day, Friday night. And then the next Saturday, the next morning, Saturday, Donald Wong's going to be there, and he's going to do his energy Qigong thing from like 10 to 1 or however long it takes. And then the following week on the 24th, we'll be open again. And we'll have Justina Langone from the Remedy Exchange has been contacted, and she's going to do a health talk. And that's all in the concept of layering, which we've talked about over the years, of layering sort of events on top of events, that kind of thing. When it makes sense, you know, not like we were just talking about rentals, that's not what we're talking about, sort of related events on top of events. That's what's going on in March. Does anybody have any questions about any of that they'd like to ask? All right, April. We had various things that came in and came out. The show for Paul D'Angelo, the comedy show, was kind of in that time frame. There was a Bloom show at some point that had been talked about. Everything moving around right now. Nobody's in that slot, so there's a little bit of an opening. I did speak with State Representative Garabedian and Jenna Leclerc, who runs the Melrose Creative Summit, I think they call themselves. They're about a year or two old. They have the actual director of the Mass Cultural Council, Michael Bobbitt, coming, and he's coming on Saturday the 11th or something, and they're doing a whole thing. I was trying to bribe him into, you know, trying to see if he could come by and see our building, because if the head of the Cultural Council knows that we exist, we could probably get more funding, which is something that we've definitely talked about for years and years, and that we need. So I did say to them, I gave them a tour, or at least I gave Jen a tour. And I said to them, if there's any way that we could help the Melrose Creative Summit in April, you know, that I'd be willing to do that. And I don't know if they're going to come back with something, but if they did come back and wanted to do something, I just want to make sure that everybody's okay with the fact that that I could potentially let them in to do something. I would be the supervisor or whatever. And the idea is to just sort of partner with our state rep, partner with other creative people, as we've talked about, you know, ACE being a regional facility for a long time. Does anybody have any issues if Melrose Creative Summit wanted to be in there for a day or two and do something in April if we hadn't met before that?
No.
No, I don't. I'm fine.
Then after that is, I think Joy can fill us in on that. This is the high school, the AP Art Show.
The AP Art Show, you've got the dates listed there. I talked with someone from the Cultural Council, and they're gonna try to fit in their reception. I see here I don't know anything about the Human Rights Commission, but then again referred to the high school, so I don't know what that's about. But then
So the Human Rights Commission actually sent us an email asking about, like, you know, events and availability. And that's the tricky subject, you know, that we're trying to figure out how to do that stuff. And we've had various attempts at it. So, you know, I you know, heard like, oh, hey, people are asking stuff. I got the email, I responded to it, and I talked to the woman. She came down during our show, and they're doing a bunch of stuff in May, which conflicts with the stuff that you have going on. So I told her that we kind of are booked, but if they had something that, they could work with the high school on that somehow made it together, really just trying to get us out of the scheduling business, because you've
And
got,
putting it on them.
well, I mean,
Okay.
I'm trying
Anyway, so I
to
don't know
include
anything
them.
about that.
Just trying to
So-
include people and not, I don't want to ever say no. Like, when people come and they say something, I'm not the big bad wolf and I'm going to say no. I say, hey, work with the people that are there and see if you can come up with a plan. So hopefully they do. They might not even have an event.
Okay. Well, the other thing too is that I'm not high school anymore, but that's okay. So
Right.
then coming up in June, we have from the ground up, there's 11, going to be 11 dates. We're still working things out. We've got a call to artists that's just about ready to go out, and more information will be coming forth. That's June.
I saw that you guys have a ton of dates on that. That's pretty aggressive.
11.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, pretty aggressive, you think you'll be able to fill it for those, or?
Well, we'll be able to staff it for that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, we had a lot of dates with the last show. Yeah, it was, and it was good. Some definitely were heavier than others, but trying to really spread the wealth.
Right. That's just a lot of work. I look at that and I say, all right, it'd be a bummer if you were alone in those times. It's just so much work. And we do the stuff that I've been, spearheading. We've been doing, much less dates to try to get more, more things going at the same time. Because we've all been doing this a bunch of years. It's hard to get people to come out, but we seem to be able to pull it off. So that's good.
And I can help maybe too, if you need a night or so. I could maybe give a hand.
well,
Thanks,
that's great.
Greg.
But we have like 40 artists part of the show. There's
Oh,
11.
perfect.
So, we use the sign up genius. So
Yeah.
everybody goes once, and in the
I
theory,
gotcha.
they invite their people that night. So it's working. It's a work.
Right.
Is it, it's not shoulder to shoulder. We're not packed,
Sure.
but it's getting there.
I know. Can you see me kinda?
I can look right up your nose.
I know. Look, I
Not
hope
that I'm
it's
doing
clear.
that, but I'm just saying that's
I hope it's clear. All right. I forget all right. We gotta behave.
All right.
No bats in the
I'll
belfry.
I'll keep us moving so that we can try to get out of here in the next 5 or 10 minutes.
Oh.
So what do you call it? That's June. You guys own it. I wish you the best success and anything we can do to help and whatever. And obviously I'm around all the time, so I'm sure I'll be in and out. The summer, we don't really have too much after June, but before it used to be we didn't have air conditioning. And then when our contractor found out that we had air conditioning, we just had to have it hooked up. Now we can, in theory, go in the summer and we could have shows, but I think all of us also want to take time off, and we're on vacation just like everybody else. And that's the thing about
Right,
being a
exactly.
volunteer. And
Yep,
this is the
yep,
reason
and-
that I am definitely, as everyone knows, very hip to the idea of a nonprofit, because if you have a nonprofit, you can have an executive director who gets paid to figure out what the hell's going to go on. And if that means that that's a good time for rental income, I guess it is, but maybe not. After the summer's over, we're looking at September, which is usually a dead month. Because the school beginning and everybody being away, and then school beginning, it's kind of, we've had things kind of almost start and then cancel. And I think that's why Arts Collaborative, grabbed on to October, because that's pretty much a great time to have a show. And that works great with the pumpkins and all that stuff that's going on. But this comedian Paul D'Angelo thing, initially it started kind of like as a comedy show. Let's figure out a way to get some revenue, to get some more hangers and get some more stuff. And just in talking with him over the last year and a half, 2 years, just like we did with Joy and all these guys, Paul's a big artist. And, he was like, people can see me do comedy anywhere. That's not really going to be an effective thing. And do we put a show and then he performs or whatever? So it's evolved. And now he's going to do an immersive sort of experience it's going to be called The Art of Stand-Up, assuming that there's no objections here tonight. And the idea would be late August, early September, we set it up. It'll have his artwork, and he will be, a host. He's a nationally touring comedian. He's got celebrity friends, And I talked to him about, the idea of doing this, and the September date was very attractive to him, particularly because he is a touring comedian nationally. He makes money, big money, in November, December, January, February. He's he's every weekend he's got, 5 shows if he's not flying out to some other city. So September was a real good time for him. And we talked about it. And there's sort of an incubation period as you talk to people like Lenny and the New England Near and Far. That was the result of several tours and a year and a half of conversations. And then it came together quick in the end, but that was after a year and a half. So with this
Hey,
artist
Chris,
stand-up thing,
Is the guy's name Chris D'Angelo, or sorry, Paul D'Angelo or Paul Murphy?
his name is Paul
Well-
Murphy. His stage name is Paul D'Angelo.
Ah, thank you. Okay, all right.
He was a-
I-
he was
I
Well,
in
had-
they're one and the
Massachusetts.
same. They're
Yeah.
one and
Got
the
it,
same.
got it now. Yep, understood.
right.
Yep, thank you.
He was a Massachusetts district attorney for 10 years, and now he tours with people like Lenny Clark, and he's pals with like Jay Leno and guys like that. But he's working. He's working 4 or 5 nights a week, 3-4 shows a
Yeah.
night. And so September was good for him because he speeds up in the winter. So, and then the other thing was, and he's also, a customer of Frame Shack, and he's talking about getting his stuff together. And he started, having conversations with me. He's like, I'm going to be spending like $10,000 or maybe a little bit more between all of my people to do this. And, we sort of doing it. And I said, yeah, okay. We're going through, and we got to the point where we hammered out this proposal that I gave you, hoping tonight that it, we'll get, everyone will be okay with it. And then if I can give him the okay on that, we are going to start being advertised, heavy for this thing to do a series of shows. And I think it'll be outstanding. He's a comedian. He's a funny guy. And if you look at the attachments, there's also some really cool stuff that he has. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I won't keep talking about it so we can get out of here in a couple minutes. But does anybody have any questions, comments, objections?
No,
All right, so I'm going to say that we all approve. You raise your hand if you want. We all approve and basically say that we permit Paul Murphy, Paul D'Angelo to create the Art of Stand-Up show and secure dates in September. I currently have it ending like on September 30th, which is sort of towards the end. I don't know what's going on with the Arts Collaborative October stuff, but definitely keep me in the loop, as we figure it out, just because we want to figure out how to get him out and get you guys in and get it so that everybody has, plenty of time.
so Chris, we will do the same thing we did last month. At this point, we will do it for the month. And so we don't have a theme yet. We need to get through the next, we need to get a little bit more planning for the next show, and then we can focus on the specific theme. So,
Okay.
but at this point, we're committed to doing that.
Okay.
And in October begins on Sunday the 1st. So
Yeah.
and there are 4 weekends in the month. So my guess is we'll be doing some kind of opening probably on the 6th. So
Okay.
that would give him, plenty of time for breakdown after September 30th.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's what I was looking at, was the
Yeah.
transition time, just because I want to make sure that
Yep.
nobody feels rushed.
Well, and actually, no, now that I say that, we'll need those days before. So, so actually, he probably could have through like maybe that Monday or something, but that we can finalize those details down the road.
Okay. All right, so moving on to
Hey,
November.
Kathy, you know what? I just would like to add in,
Sure.
if he's gonna finish on the 29th,
Yeah.
he should be out of there by the 30th.
Yeah.
It shouldn't go till Monday. He should just
Okay.
do it.
Like, is that
Yep.
is that a Sunday? I would think that weekend. Like, when's the last day of the month? Is it Friday night, Saturday?
You
But
The
said
yeah,
last day
Friday,
of September is a
29th.
Saturday.
Okay.
September 30th is a Saturday.
Yeah. So that's totally reasonable, Joy. I'm on board. I mean, breakdown. So breakdown's quick. It's set up that takes
Yeah,
forever.
always is. Yep.
So I'm sure that won't be an issue. So November, I don't know if we have anything loosely schedules on there, and it's kind of, back and forth. We've done stuff. Do you guys know this guy, Jonna Bizamra, that I put on there?
No, I don't
It's like-
recognize it.
He's like this Rockport guy that a lot of people seem to like, and he was there and he had like people following around at our last show, and he had talked about the idea that he might be interested in doing something. He seems to have amazing stuff, and I talked to him loosely about stuff and said I'd bring it to the team to see what you guys think. And with the Paul D'Angelo show, and he had said maybe something for the summer. I don't see that as really making a ton of sense since we are volunteers and we're doing stuff. Someone would need to sponsor it. That's the way that we do it. So one of us would have to be there. And I don't think that I'm willing to give up any time in July or August for somebody that I'm not super tight with. But his stuff looks outstanding. So I'm going to put out there that, in November, I'm going to continue talking to him. But does anybody have an issue if I were to talk to him and to come up with some sort of a plan that might fall in November dates?
No issue.
Okay, so I'll talk to him and see if I can make that real. And just tell him that the team has said that that's available for him. And I'll try to, nail it down and get some sort of commitment level and bring that back. And then in December, you've got the holiday art sale, the holiday stroll. I know that there's some discussion and some things, I'm sure Carolyn Lieber will want to be in there again. I know there was, spacing and stuff issues. So, hopefully we can figure out a way to maybe make it so that everybody can do it.
I did talk to someone who was involved in putting the last year's holiday stroll together, and it seems like it would be, still smaller scale like it was last year. So just FYI at this point, granted it's months away, but it doesn't seem like there is momentum yet, if at all, for a full-blown old style Wakefield holiday stroll, but that could always change. And I would say that the Arts Collaborative, would be looking like we did this past year for the first weekend in December to do an art show to do an art sale as we did in 2022.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Works for me. So we've got that going down to funding. That's kind of largely been covered. Basically, if we go the nonprofit route, we open up buckets of money. If we, for some reason, don't go the nonprofit route or come up with some other agreement, we will not, outside of earmarks, we will not have the ability to generate significant amount of revenues to move forward with the long-term plan that we've been operating on for 8 years, which that big giant sentence is really sad if we can't find a way to keep going with our master plan. Tonight's presentation, I felt, was a drastic and not well thought out stab at that. I think we've done a great job getting our place, and I want to congratulate everybody on this call for working your butt off to get us to this place that we're at. Unfortunately, I feel as if it means that everybody's trying to come and take some of it, and I think that collaborative conversations have largely not been present, and we need to all strongly insist that they are, because this team built this place. We've all been here. I'm looking around and Tracy's new, but everybody else has been here for 8 years. So, I don't want to see us or our intents get strong-armed, because I think that they're flawed. I think that these options are flawed, and we've had flawed relationships, and those relationships need to be repaired before we can really move forward with anything that really was even talked about tonight. I mean, the fact that a baby shower was even uttered to me just means that we're at a different level.
Don't say that word again. And Kathy, strike it.
I object.
Strike that word. Take the word out. Put in
From the record.
But the big thing is that our economic development is measured in our space utility and the programming that we do. It is not based on rental revenue. Never has been, never should be, never really would be. And the idea that we would have public meeting space in there is completely crazy. I mean, I said that a couple times when they were here, and I'll say it again.
And let's just wait and see what they come out. Let's see. What
because there's you can do that at the library. And they have public meetings.
Chris, we hear you. I don't want to have to run through it again. Thank you.
So going on to number 5, unanticipated topics. All right, hearing none.
No, we already had plenty of those.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so
Sorry,
not
guys.
bad. It was an aggressive meeting, but we did it in an hour and 15 minutes. We usually do it in about 57 minutes. So that wasn't too bad. I think that we all voiced our opinion, and pretty much, while we have slightly different perspectives, I think they're all collectively similar. So we got a lot of time into this place, and we want to make sure that we do it right.
Okay, move to adjourn.
All right, second.
Yeah.
Everybody raise their hand.
Can you see him?
Yay, my hands up.
All right.
Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody, and we'll talk
Bye,
soon.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you,
Good
everybody.
night.
Bye.
Good night.